So the aim of this video is to show people how I'm going to go from a 2:28 marathon to a 2:19 marathon. We got back from Hawaii Tuesday morning. We started off with our first strength session back from holiday, which was a low body strength session with John.
Can you see that, Tom? How his hips just moving out to the right slightly as the knee comes in. That's what we want. That's where we're living the dream. So the aim of today's session is just do the strength session that we've been doing for the last kind of 5 or 6 weeks. We've been doing it on repeat. It's kind of a reset. It gives me a chance to see where he's at, what's looking good, what's not. Is there any tightness? Is there any effect from the travel? And then we can start moving into the next phase of training, which is going to be basically the pre-comp and comp phase, where, like I said, we start integrating all the Hyrox stations and the transitions and the high intensity. We've done the easy bit essentially. Now we've got to kind of get to work and reintegrate everything ready for performing well in Hamburg.
So you're still working, especially the lower body, because this is going to make you more resilient and help you increase your mileage when you're building towards a marathon. Studies show that you should only increase your mileage by 10% per week. So instead of building up the mileage, you can do alternative exercises. Last year, I think I built up too fast. I only had 12 weeks to train, whereas this year, I've given myself 24 weeks to train for this marathon. Yo, yo, yo. So I finished up the gym session. It went well, to be fair. Didn't feel the strongest, but everything was moving good. You know, no niggles, no friction. Wednesday afternoon, we did a heat session. So the idea is that we put on layers, make our bodies a lot warmer than they would be if you was just kind of cycling or running in a t-shirt. And what we're doing, we're increasing the heart rate and increasing the core temperature of our body. What it also does is increases red blood cells within your system by increasing blood plasma around your body, which then sends a message to increase red blood cells. Last year I didn't even know about it before Berlin, so the fact that I can go into this marathon block knowing that I can improve my fitness by doing other things and being smarter with my training, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Basically, we're trying to sweat as much as possible, aiming for around 1.5 to 2 litres. I think it's one of the secrets to the best athletes in the world, best endurance athletes in the world. Realistically, your environment should be above 16 degrees Celsius, and you still need to kind of add on layers then. The aim is to get your heart rate in kind of like a zone 2, so anywhere between, I'd say, 120 beats per minute and 140 beats per minute. And the heat is the main factor of increasing your heart rate. It's not a power output. You know, if I was cycling normally now, I'd probably be in zone 1. But because we're warmer and we're hot and your body's struggling to get rid of the heat and spending energy to get rid of the heat, our heart rate's higher. This is just one of the factors that I'm better in and including that's going to help me get towards my time. You know, we don't run marathons stood still. We don't run Hyrox stood still. So we're best off practicing it, moving. Now, I picked a bike just because, let's say, if you do push it a little bit hard, you have all your data straight in front of you. If you feel like you're going to faint, you can just stop. If you're already sat down, so you're not going to hurt yourself. If you're out running, it's probably slightly different. You know, you could just faint, you could fall on the floor, you could trip over, because towards the end, it does get tough. You're purposely dehydrating yourself. So 10 minutes left. We've dropped the watts down to around 160 to 170 because the heart rate spiked. Now we're just trying to keep it around that 140 mark, and no higher than this, only lower. Lower's okay. That is not, let's say, I don't want to push it too much. This is where it counts. These last couple of minutes of any session is where it counts. You do not give up, push through, no matter how much it hurts. As Truett Haynes would say, pain is temporary, or it's just pain. And it's just your body being uncomfortable. Your body loves to stay comfy. You're making it do something that it doesn't want to do, and therefore it's going to scream and it's going to shout at you to stop. One hour done. With an average heart rate. Max heart rate 150, average heart rate 130. So pretty perfect. You know, it's not going to be exact bang on all the time, but yeah, pretty happy with that. So I'm going to get off, fill some drinks up, get outside, cool down, drink my drinks. Easy. Lovely. What we're doing, we're just cooling off downstairs. Look, I've tried it before where we just jump straight into a shower, and you know, even if it's a cold shower, like as soon as you get out, like you just start sweating again.
I think one of the main things that people need to understand is your nutrition.
This one's got electrolytes in, them two are just water.
So we need to focus on staying hydrated during the actual race, which people forget to do. You need to be drinking enough water, you need to have enough sodium, whether that's in tablet form, whether that's in your drinks, or whether that's in your gels.
We're super on it with nutrition.
The old studies said that you can have a maximum of 60 to 90 grams per hour. And there's now new studies that are coming out, and people are trialing it where they're going up to 120 to 150 grams of carbohydrates per hour.
Within 5 minutes, you need to be taking on fluids. If you've got an extra session that day, you need to be taking on carbohydrates, and then, you know, protein shortly after. And that's just going to start that recovery process so much quicker, and that's going to make our sessions more effective.
Can you eat a banana whilst running that fast?
And that's another thing that I think I'm going to have to practice, is actually drinking at a 3:18 kilometre pace, like minute kilometre pace. Do you know? Because for me, that's running fast.
I've actually not got steak tonight. What we're having healthy taco bowls. And when I mean that, basically everything that goes in a taco without the taco. So it's pretty depressing, to be fair, but it's healthier.
Thursday is when we trialled our first threshold session. So last year I ran the marathon in the Puma DVA Elite 3, which is that shoe. Not that exact model, I think I ran in the Represent ones, but that's just a Hyrox version, but it's exactly the same. That was a pretty good shoe. It's what I do all my races in, including Hyrox races. But I've been speaking to Puma, and they suggest that I potentially change shoes to a more efficient shoe, which would be this shoe, which is the Fast R3. And this is meant to be the most efficient shoe on the market. What that means really is we can be at the same fitness, but run a faster time just off the shoes that we're wearing.
I feel like I'm ready. Been building up the mileage every single week. So yeah, I'm finally going to test out a little bit of speed work. We're still going to keep nice and reserved, but yeah, this is kind of like the next stage now, bringing that intensity back to running, so really excited for it. The session itself is going to be 6 by 5 minutes on, with 1 minute rest in between, with a warm up and cool down either side. Another thing that I've actually been doing is just being more accurate with kind of tracking my data. So I've
got an actual heart rate monitor instead of just using a watch and going off the heart rate on the watch, because that's quite inaccurate. Instead, I've got a band, so a little bit more accurate, and that way I can keep in heart rate zones. If my heart rate's too high, then I pull back. If it's too low, then you know, I push. Power to weight ratio matters a lot when you're running a marathon. The lighter you are and the more efficient you are, the better you're going to run. Last year when I ran the marathon, I was 85 kg. I'm looking to drop weight to around 78 to 79 kilograms. We've done the research, and if I'm at the same fitness as I was last year and we drop 6 kilograms, I'll be able to run a 2:19 marathon. Being in a deficit increases chance of injury, it reduces your performance, and you don't want this to affect your training too much. Otherwise you're going to go backwards in fitness and potentially get injured. So be sensible, don't drop weight too fast, but do it in enough time where you're going into the race fueled and back at maintenance. You don't want to be still dieting the day of the race, for example.
Are there any differences in clothing that you were wearing last year that you're going to change up for this year?
So I'm actually getting my own line designed for this marathon to make sure everything fits me as well as it can. You know, things aren't loose, things are the right size, and they're the lightest weight. I know it's not going to make that much of a difference, but you know, every gram counts, especially when you're running a marathon distance. So you know, no stone left unturned.
So going into interval 2. So interval 2 done. Feeling good at the moment. Heart rate just about 150. So we're in zone 3, but we're not even pushing and touching on that threshold yet. You know, high class my threshold is between kind of like 160 and 170. So we're not in there yet, but oh shit. But at the moment we're just getting our body used to faster pace. So I'm not going to push anything today. So we're just going to stay at the same speed, basically.
Another thing that I'm doing different this year that I didn't do last year is getting a pacer for the actual marathon.
Shit. Going into interval 3.
This year I just want to take all the thinking out of it, have a pacer so I don't have to be looking at my watch thinking am I on time. I can just trust the pacer, stick with him and get the time that I want. Last year I didn't really taper. I actually did a Hyrox the week before.
So going into interval 4.
So this year I'm going to take my taper really serious. I'm going to get to Houston probably a week before, get rid of any jet lag, and I'm going to deload in terms of training as well. You know, people train for 6 months for a marathon, and then just before the race they do too much.
Interval 4 done, 2/3 of the way through, feeling really good. Heart rate 154 after that last one. So yeah, I think it just shows that, you know, even though we've done no threshold work for like the past 10 weeks, we've still been doing the fitness, we've been still getting in the intervals on the bike and working hard. It just shows that it's paying off, because this is the best I've ever felt running at the pace I am, and I've not been doing it at all.
In the back of your head before, and everyone gets it, the week of the race you're thinking, have I done enough? Do you know, would I be better off just getting another speed session in? And the answer is no. You need to chill out.
So there we have it. All intervals done. Max heart rate, I think, was 157 throughout it all, which I'm really impressed with, really, because, like you say, we didn't push the pace, but for the first one back, it felt so comfortable. Probably the easiest interval session I've ever done. So it just shows, again, like, when you do get injured, you can still work on your fitness, you can still keep building. Like, every day, almost every day, I've been doing 2 to 3 hours of aerobic fitness, whether that's on the bike, skier, rower, or easy runs. And, you know, it's converted over without even trying, really. You know what I mean? So it just shows we are getting fitter, and it's given me, this session has just given me a lot of confidence.
The next point that I want to touch on is recovery. I think this is probably one of the most important points. At the top of the priority is sleep, making sure that you get at least 8 hours of sleep per night. Other recovery tools I like to use is the sauna. I think it's great for blood flow and improving recovery. I also like to do stretching, mobility and massage, because this also improves recovery. And then a thing that I do kind of like once a week is cold therapy.
Do you think you can take it too far with recovery methods? Like, do you think there's...
Yeah, I think you can become obsessed with recovery. Do you know, one of the best recovery methods is just chilling out. The final point is just believing in yourself and believing that you can actually achieve what you've set out to do. I think there's too many people out there that rely too much on what other people think and don't believe in themselves, and they're always, ooh, what if things don't go to plan? What if I don't get the time? Do you know, oh, my nutrition's not been the best. Like, nothing is going to be perfect. As we say, conditions will never be perfect, but you've just got to believe in yourself, and you've got to believe that you can achieve what you set out to do. And believing that throughout your training block as well is really important. Like, you're going to have days where you get up and you know you don't hit the paces that you want to hit, but that's just the process, and you keep consistent and you analyze every single session, every session that went well, every session that went wrong, and you constantly adapt, and on race day hopefully you've done everything that you can to achieve the goal that you set out to do. And even if you are underprepared on race day, you still go out and give it everything, because you never know what can happen. If you believe, like, you know, the power of the mind is so much more powerful than people think. Like, you know, if you believe you can do it, you can do it.
Things we need to touch on: sled push,
Yep.
sled pull,
Yep.
burpees,
Yep.
and wall balls. Obviously, we've basically not done any Hyrox movements for the last 10 weeks. We've got our first competition in 5 weeks' time, so we need to start incorporating Hyrox movements back in. So the movements that we've not done are sled pull, sled push, wall balls, and burpee broad jumps. So today we're literally just going to have a super simple session where we're just incorporating these back in. So yeah, I'm excited.
It should be a smooth transition, getting ready for that 5 week time, that deadline, the next race. So yeah, excited. bit of rationale as to why it's so easy on the first session is when you get tired, when you're unpracticed, that's when your body starts going into positions that it shouldn't be, and that's when issues start to arise. So today is just about remembering how to push the sled properly. Perfect technique, set up the conditions so that you just win, and then hopefully we can carry that through to when the heart rate's higher, there's more fatigue. But practicing just good movement over and over and over and over, you're more likely then to produce that movement pattern once you get to the situation where the intensity is a lot higher, or your heart rate's super high, or fatigue's kicking in.
Just need to get that right, because I was going too far then.
With the throwing the roll
So
out,
going
yeah.
1, 2 is too far because I'm like that.
Yeah, too far
when I'm
forward.
starting. I need to be starting back like this.
That was better. Head down. Just try and breathe as you would if you were running or rowing or whatever. Relax, nice and smooth. Very consistent, I like it. Now just think about where you need to go with. Keep that easy and everything else is easy. So let's go. 1, 2, 3. 11, last one. Good.
Yeah man, they're I can tell I've not been used to them. They feel alright, but the legs are feeling it.
On the whole, nice, love it.
So nice and simple, 10-minute warm up on the bike. Then we did a 10-minute EMOM of 10-meter sled push at Hyrox weight every minute on the minute for 10 minutes. Then we repeated that with the sled pull at Hyrox weight. Then we did another 10-minute EMOM of 20 meters burpee broad jump every minute, and then we finished with 12 wall balls every minute. So a 40-minute session, and then I'm just doing a 10-minute cool down now. So nice and simple, 1 hour in the bag. The things that I think we need to kind of pick up on and we observed within this session are, I'm just a little bit rusty when it comes to kind of like technique, you know, rope management and burpees, just kind of making them quicker, and then just getting my squatting form back to where it was, because we've not really been squatting. We've been doing a lot of single leg stuff, but we're squatting today within the wall ball and it was just shifting a little bit, and that may be because I'm just tight, or it's just because we've not done the movement in so long, so there'll be more squats added in. But yeah, all in all, pretty productive session. Good first one back.